the past couple of days, there's been a lot of talk about the possible release of RFK's killer, Sirhan B. Sirhan, being released from prison. He has been recommended for parole. So now I think it goes in front of the whole parole panel, and then the governor, who is Gavin Newsom, can decide whether to okay it or deny it. And I can't see Gavin Newsom releasing this monster to the public or to society. There are some people who should be in prison forever. And before people start talking about, well, why should RFK be any more important than anybody else? The fact is, there are people, quote unquote, less important than RFK who have been murdered, and their killers are in prison without any chance of parole. Okay? So that's not an argument. And the thing is, it's called an assassination, not just a murder, an assassination for a reason, because it was politically motivated. Old Sirhan was, I being real fuzzy here, I could go look it up if I wanted to and refresh my memory, because I was 13 years old when this happened. And RFK died on our last day of school that year, in June of '68. But it seems that the year before, or a few months prior to this, Robert Kennedy went on one of these shows, and he talked about his continued support for Israel. You know, there was all that, I think the 6-Day War, I think that was in 1967 or something. So he was making some remarks about that, and Sirhan, he just got all upset, and he just went ape shit, and then he killed RFK in front of several witnesses, including former NFL player Rosie Greer, who may have still been playing football then. I think he was, and he had been the bodyguard to Ethel Kennedy, and he wrested the gun, or was involved in an altercation with the killer. So it's not like it's a conspiracy theory and somebody else did it or anything else. The conspiracy, like with Lee Harvey Oswald, was all in his head. So there were witnesses there. So he did it. And he originally got death for it, but it was commuted. But he was eligible for parole, and he's been denied it 15 times. But they made a big deal. The media, getting back to the original point, the media made a big deal out of 2 of RFK's kids, saying, well, he served his time. It's time to let him out. Because he's 77 now. But that really should be neither here nor there. One of the 2 was RFK Jr. and he's been kind of messed up with the anti-vax thing and other things. He's kind of got off the rails. And the other one is Douglas Kennedy, who was just a baby when his dad was murdered. Now this is Rory Kennedy, and I believe she's the youngest of the 11 kids, and she was not yet born when her dad died, if I recall correctly. She was the last one. But she's not in favor of release. Neither are 5 other Kennedy siblings. So that's, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Kathleen's the only one that hasn't weighed in and on the issue. But, you know, she writes here, or the statement says, as children of Robert F. Kennedy, we are devastated that the man who murdered our father has been recommended for parole. Our father's death is a very difficult matter for us to discuss publicly, and for the past many decades we have declined to engage directly in the parole process. Given today's unexpected recommendation by the California Parole Board after 15 previous decisions to deny release, we feel compelled to make our position clear. We adamantly oppose the parole and release of Sirhan and are shocked by a ruling that we believe ignores the standards for parole of a confessed first-degree murderer in the state of California. Our father's death impacted our family in ways that could never be adequately be articulated, and in today's decision by a 2-member parole board has inflicted enormous additional pain. But beyond just us, 6 of Robert Kennedy's 9 surviving children, Sirhan committed a crime against our nation and its people. He took our father from our family, and he took him from America. We are in disbelief that this man would be recommended for release. We urge the parole board staff, the full board, and ultimately Governor Newsom to reverse this initial recommendation. It is a recommendation we intend to challenge every step of the way, and we hope that those who also hold the memory of our father in their hearts will stand with us. And by the way, Ethel Kennedy, his widow, is still alive. She's 93 years old. It's also a slap in the face to her, too. She's had to live with this for 53 years, and she, you know, despite all the crapola stories, she adored her husband. She absolutely did. They were full partners in that marriage. They had a real rare relationship because they were so in tune with each other, and that's a total slap in the face to release her husband's killer. It is, but in the end, it's not about the Kennedys. It's about the country, because Sirhan did, in fact, alter the course of this country in ways that we're still suffering from today. We ended up with Nixon, and Nixon, of course, cut a deal with Hanoi about undermining the Paris peace talks because he was going to give them a better deal. So he wanted to cheat Humphrey out of winning the election because he thought LBJ was trying to play politics. So he did that, and that was the seeds of everything that happened during the Nixon administration. And Nixon eventually resigned because of Watergate, which was tied, in the end, closely tied to the Chenault affair, which was the Nixon's Logan Act violation about the Paris peace talks. And then everything after that, the cynicism, we're still that way. We're still horribly cynical about government. Thank you, Sirhan, for nothing. You and Lee Harvey Oswald, at least, if there was anything good about Oswald, at least Jack Ruby got rid of him. But of course, that I've talked about Jack Ruby before. What he did was he just started a whole conspiracy industry. And that was the big black mark there. Instead of Oswald being brought to justice, and he probably would have been executed. And it would have been a slam dunk case. But here, you know, birds of a feather. He altered the country. Sirhan committed a crime against the United States. And no, he should never see the light of day. So I hope the full board and Governor Newsom will just throw this in the garbage can, and Sirhan can just rot.